Let me ask somebody who know me for real, right? Who really know me.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear.
I think you have.
Do you think I'm like from
what she got?
I think she's heavy. I think
Video ain't really the issue. The video being posted up on social media is the issue. If someone would have sent her that video privately, she and I would have had one conversation about it.
In the world of fame, trust is fragile. Loyalty is sacred, and betrayal hits harder than anyone can imagine. What started as a private indiscretion quickly exploded into one of the most shocking scandals in hip-hop history. Millions watched as a marriage collapsed, friendships shattered, and a family was torn apart under the brightest spotlight imaginable. This is the story of Tiny, T.I., and Shekinah Anderson, a tale of heartbreak, betrayal, and survival that unfolded for the world to witness, a narrative so raw that it blurred the line between gossip and tragedy, leaving fans, critics, and casual observers alike in stunned disbelief. It all began with a single, damning video. Late one night, a clip emerged showing T.I., Clifford Harris, in a dimly lit luxury hotel room with Shekinah Anderson, a woman once considered Tiny's closest confidant. The footage was intimate, shocking, and unequivocally clear. For millions, it was proof of betrayal that needed no explanation. Overnight, the Harris household went from private peace to global spectacle. The video spread across TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and every social media platform imaginable, leaving a trail of disbelief, outrage, and heartbreak in its wake. Fans who had long admired T.I. and Tiny were forced to confront a truth they never expected, while critics and commentators seized the moment to dissect every frame, every gesture, and every implication. What was meant to be private had become public, and the consequences would ripple far beyond the walls of that hotel suite. For Tiny, the emotional blow was immediate and devastating. She had invested years into a marriage she believed was strong, offering her youth, loyalty, and heart to someone she trusted implicitly. But the video shattered that reality, turning a private betrayal into a spectacle for the world to consume. Beyond the personal devastation, there was public humiliation. Tiny was confronted not only with her husband's infidelity, but with the betrayal of someone she once considered a sister. Shekinah Anderson had been a close confidant, someone Tiny trusted completely. And now, with the video circulating across social media at lightning speed, Tiny's world fractured under both emotional and public pressure. The footage did more than expose a relationship. It exposed a family, a marriage, and a woman's pain to millions of strangers who felt entitled to witness every intimate moment of her heartbreak. But Tiny didn't retreat. She didn't hide behind Instagram captions or forced smiles. Instead, she confronted the betrayal head-on, filing what the media quickly dubbed the betrayal lawsuit of the decade. The lawsuit, seeking a staggering $50 million, targeted both T.I. and Shekinah, citing emotional abuse, public humiliation, and betrayal on a global scale. For Tiny, this wasn't about money. It was about reclaiming dignity, asserting justice, and sending a clear message. Betrayal would not go unchallenged. The courtroom became a stage, a place where Tiny would stand her ground, and the world became her audience. Cameras flashed relentlessly as lawyers read the allegations aloud, exposing a story far more complex and far more heart-wrenching than anyone could have imagined. Each piece of evidence added weight, forcing those watching to confront the harsh reality of deception, manipulation, and heartbreak. The evidence presented in court was explosive. Audio recordings allegedly captured T.I. instructing Shekinah to keep their affair a secret, his voice low, persuasive, and desperate. "Just keep it quiet, Shekinah. Tiny can never know. If this gets out, everything I built is gone." The room fell silent as the weight of betrayal settled on everyone present. Then came the hotel receipts, stamped and sealed, showing Shekinah's name alongside T.I.'s reservations, cementing the reality of their meetings. Every new revelation stacked upon the previous one, painting an undeniable portrait of deceit. The courtroom became more than a place of justice. It became a theater for truth, heartbreak, and exposure, where every word, every gesture, and every tear was magnified for a global audience. Outside the courtroom, the storm was just beginning. Fans turned social media into a battlefield, debating, grieving, and showing solidarity. Hashtags like TinyBroken, Cancel T.I., and Justice for Tiny dominated timelines, capturing the collective outrage and heartbreak. Tiny became more than a celebrity. She became a symbol of resilience, heartbreak, and survival. Meanwhile, Shekinah, once a trusted friend and close confidant, faced the full force of public condemnation. Memes, scathing comments, and viral videos painted her as a villain, a cautionary tale of betrayal in the modern age. Every reaction, every post, and every shared clip amplified the narrative, turning private pain into a spectacle that the world could not look away from. Tiny's personal heartbreak had transcended celebrity gossip. It had become a global lesson in loyalty, trust, and strength. Among the most gut-wrenching moments captured on camera was Tiny holding her daughter's hand, whispering softly through tears, "This is why I fought to protect you. No woman deserves this." That moment became iconic. Tiny was no longer just a betrayed wife. She was a mother, a protector, and a beacon of resilience. Within minutes, the video went viral, the caption, "A queen broken but never defeated," spreading across social media. Millions empathized, shared, and celebrated her courage, recognizing that her pain was not just her own. It represented the struggle of anyone who has ever been lied to, manipulated, or betrayed by someone they loved and trusted. T.I.'s legal team attempted to spin the story, claiming the footage and evidence were part of a setup orchestrated for clicks, fame, or financial gain. Yet Shekinah's testimony contradicted that narrative, revealing the manipulations she herself had endured and the promises T.I. had made that led her to believe they had a future together. The courtroom became a battleground for truth, each revelation more explosive than the last. Every word, every pause, every tear was broadcast and dissected, turning private lives into public spectacle and forcing the world to grapple with the complicated realities of betrayal, manipulation, and trust broken in its most intimate form. Outside the courthouse, the chaos was unrelenting. Protesters filled the streets, holding signs demanding justice for Tiny and condemning betrayal, while news vans and helicopters captured every angle for live broadcasts, reaching millions around the world. Social media became a relentless force, turning every courtroom detail into trending content, reaction videos, and endless debates. Fans openly wept with Tiny, sharing stories of their own experiences with betrayal, while critics dissected every detail, defending T.I. or condemning his actions. The scandal had evolved far beyond celebrity gossip. It had become a cultural event, a live-action tragedy that millions couldn't stop watching, dissecting, and reacting to in real time. Tiny's legal team strategically revealed additional bombshells. Private diary entries allegedly penned by Shekinah detailed the promises T.I. had made, portraying a calculated web of manipulation. Screenshots of direct messages further corroborated these claims, with one alleged message stating, "Cliff, I can't wait until she's out of the picture. It's finally going to be just us." The courtroom erupted. No longer could anyone dismiss the claims as speculation or rumor. The evidence was extensive, detailed, and damning. Each new revelation added layers to the narrative of deceit, manipulation, and trust broken in its most intimate form. Tiny, though emotionally shattered, emerged from the courtroom as a figure of resilience. Supported by her legal team and guided by her own strength, she walked forward, tears streaming, yet her posture defiant. She had endured the unendurable and had chosen to fight publicly for her dignity. Meanwhile, T.I. walked away, his empire crumbling, his reputation in ruins. Concerts were canceled, endorsements disappeared, and fans protested outside his home, expressing outrage and disappointment. Shekinah, once ambitious and fearless, was left drowning in public shame, her social media presence overwhelmed by condemnation and ridicule. However, a hotel room booked under Clifford's name, curtains drawn just enough to let the city lights spill across the floor, a half-empty glass of champagne catching the dim glow of the overhead light, and two people caught in an act that would define the next chapter of Tiny's life. T.I. and Shekinah Anderson. Two people she trusted beyond measure. The video didn't show a handshake, a casual hug, or an innocent conversation. It showed betrayal in its rawest, most undeniable form. Every subtle movement, every glance, every moment was an unspoken sentence of deceit. When the video leaked online, it wasn't merely a clip to gossip about. It became a weapon, a way for the internet to quantify, dissect, and share her heartbreak. In a matter of hours, hashtags like #exposed, #justice4Tiny, and #T.I. and Shekinah dominated social media platforms. People weren't speculating, they were convinced. What had been private, intimate, and tragic became a spectacle for millions to consume, dissect, and react to in real time. The reaction was immediate, viral, and unrelenting. Social media users didn't just watch, they amplified, remixed, and shared her suffering with an intensity that was almost surreal. Clips of Tiny speaking about trust, family loyalty, and marriage were layered over the leaked footage, juxtaposing her words with the betrayal that unfolded in that hotel room. What was once a private heartbreak became public content, a moment that people could click, share, and comment on. The internet turned grief into spectacle, transforming personal devastation into digital fodder. Tiny's heartbreak was no longer private, it had become collective. Millions of people worldwide were now part of her narrative, feeling every moment of betrayal, heartbreak, and shock as if it were their own. And then came the courtroom, where private betrayal met public scrutiny. Tiny didn't just have to process her grief, she had to prove it, to confront it, and to navigate it under the unflinching gaze of the law and the media. Evidence began to pile up with a relentless precision. Diaries allegedly written by Shekinah, messages between her and T.I., hotel bookings, and credit card statements. One diary entry stood out. "Clifford promised me he'd leave Tiny. He told me we'd rule the industry together." These weren't ambiguous words or baseless claims. They were a blueprint for betrayal, meticulously planned behind Tiny's back. As her attorneys read the entries aloud, the courtroom became a theater of heartbreak. Tiny broke down, her voice trembling, tears streaming, as the reality of years of deceit unfolded before her eyes. This wasn't simply about a romantic indiscretion. It was about manipulation, calculated deception, and the deliberate erosion of trust in a life she had built with love and care. T.I. and Shekinah's attempts to frame it as rumor or misinterpretation failed against the mounting evidence. Audio recordings emerged where T.I.'s voice whispered to Shekinah, "Just keep it quiet, Tiny can never know. If this gets out, everything I built is gone." Those words weren't just proof, they were a confession, a chilling admission of manipulation and deception. As the clips surfaced online, the public reaction was instantaneous. Tiny's private betrayal became a shared experience, amplified by social media. Her heartbreak, previously hidden behind closed doors, was now a symbol of resilience in the face of unimaginable deceit. The world wasn't watching a scandal, they were witnessing the unraveling of an empire built on trust, only to be betrayed by those closest to her. The public response was as swift as it was unwavering. Protesters gathered outside the courthouse, holding signs demanding justice for Tiny, chanting slogans for accountability, and broadcasting their support through megaphones and social media. Fans took to TikTok and Instagram, creating tribute reels, sharing edits, and turning Tiny's pain into a movement. Her voice, her story, was amplified not just by the media, but by millions of ordinary people who had witnessed a wrong they could not ignore. Her suffering became a shared experience, a collective reckoning with deceit, and an emblem of resilience. Tiny's heartbreak was no longer just her own. It was a narrative that resonated with countless women who had faced betrayal and dishonesty in their own lives, quietly or publicly. Her courage in facing the betrayal head-on inspired solidarity, empathy, and action on an unprecedented scale. When Tiny finally emerged from the courthouse, holding her daughter's hand, her tears streaking her face, but her stance unwavering, she delivered a statement that resonated worldwide. "I fought to protect her, to show her that no woman deserves this." Those words, simple yet powerful, transcended the courtroom. They became a message of empowerment, of resilience, and of accountability. Tiny wasn't just a victim of betrayal, she had transformed into a symbol of strength. The world, watching and sharing, understood that courage isn't measured by the absence of pain, but by the refusal to let deceit define you. Tiny's heartbreak, her vulnerability, and her unwavering stance became a rallying cry for women everywhere, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, integrity, dignity, and resilience can shine through. As the trial progressed, a final piece of evidence pushed the courtroom and the public into disbelief. A voicemail recording of T.I. whispering to Shekinah, "I can't let Tiny know. If this gets out, it's over for me. But you're the only one who understands me." That single, desperate sentence wasn't merely evidence. It was confession, manipulation, and betrayal laid bare. Tiny's response was immediate and visceral. She screamed, she wept, she confronted the reality of a life built on lies. The internet exploded with reactions, from tears and apathy to anger and outrage. Tiny's heartbreak, laid bare in that moment, became a shared experience for millions, solidifying her status not just as a survivor, but as a cultural symbol of resilience in the face of profound deception. From that moment onward, Tiny's story was no longer about the scandal itself. It was about the resilience and strength that rose from it. Fans, influencers, and ordinary people alike documented every moment, from courtroom reactions to heartfelt statements outside the courthouse. Tiny's legacy transformed from personal heartbreak into a public narrative of courage, integrity, and empowerment. The betrayal she endured became a rallying point for conversations about trust, loyalty, and accountability in relationships. T.I.'s reputation crumbled under the weight of evidence, Shekinah's actions became synonymous with betrayal, and Tiny emerged, not just as a survivor, but as a symbol, a queen, and a voice for the betrayed. Her story, once private, became a movement, inspiring millions around the world. The internet had unequivocally picked sides. Tiny emerged as the queen of heartbreak, a symbol of resilience for anyone betrayed or deceived. Social media timelines were flooded with reaction videos, heartfelt posts, and stories of solidarity. Every courtroom revelation, every tear, and every display of courage became content that resonated with millions, turning private pain into a shared, public experience. Tiny's story had transcended gossip. It had become a universal tale of survival, strength, and the courage to confront betrayal head-on, no matter the personal cost. By the conclusion of the trial, the truth was undeniable. Audio recordings, hotel receipts, private messages, and diary entries painted a damning portrait of deception. T.I.'s once celebrated legacy had been irreversibly stained, Shekinah's reputation destroyed, and Tiny had emerged as a living symbol of strength, heartbreak, and survival. What began as a private indiscretion had escalated into a cultural phenomenon, exposing the fragility of trust and the consequences of betrayal in the digital age. The courtroom, once a place of law, had become a theater of tragedy, watched by millions, dissected in real time, and immortalized in social media history. History will not remember this as mere celebrity gossip. It will remember the night a marriage fell apart, a friendship was destroyed, and a queen rose from the ashes of betrayal. Tiny's story is not just about heartbreak. It is about resilience, strength, and the courage to stand against betrayal and deception in the harshest of spotlights. Now, the question is yours. Do you stand with Tiny? Can T.I. ever rebuild his empire and regain public trust? Or has Shekinah's betrayal permanently altered the legacy of a family once seen as untouchable? Share your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to follow every twist and turn of this shocking, real-life drama.